dictionary. And like I told you, a dictionary is a collection which is ordered, changeable, but does not allow duplicates. So generally, we use dictionary in as part of data collection. So I've explained this before a bit. So what I'm just going to say is that I want to put a dictionary of people. So let me just say training, for example. And this is what I mean by dictionary. For example, I want to define your gender. Let me just use that as example. And I want to say about, let me use Leoncy as the dictionary I want to form. So if I want to use Leoncy, so what means is that I will start with this. Remember I said dictionary will use a curly bracket. Now, what I want to start with Leoncy, I want to know her name. That's the first thing. I want to know her age. That's the second thing. I want to know the country she's coming from. That's the third thing. I want to know the province she's coming from. Let's say profession. And then I want to know province. I want to know occupation. Now these are different so this is a dictionary. So I'm trying to form a dictionary. Now if you look at the normal meaning of dictionary, you know that is where we used to go and consult something. So you can see the way I moved in down to here. And then I just want to also, let me put gender, for example. Now these are information that have to do with Leoncy. Now, and I want to coordinate this information into her name. So what I need to do is that I want to start up with her name. So you remember we need to do this, like put it up like this. And then what is her name? So I'm going to say Leoncy. Leo. Let me start with Leo because I think your name is written like this. Now, what is your age? Then I can go ahead with she's 50 years old. Which country is Leoncy coming from? I'm going to say she's coming from Rwanda. Then what is her profession? She's a surveyor. Then what province is she coming from? Leoncy, I think you are coming from Western province. Let me give you Western or Ruma Magana, any of those places. Then occupation, she's a student. And gender, I think you're a female. Are you a male? You let us know. Now, this is just, you remember that this is supposed to have this. Then the country is supposed to have this. The Rwanda here is supposed to have this. And remember that it uses key and value. Remember, I've said this in dictionary, and that's where we come about when we're talking about querying with overpass. So what we are indirectly doing is that we are trying to put these things in this particular pattern. So we have the key and we have the value, and then this is a way you can put up different aspects of these are the way you can make up different key and values. Now you see here that who am I discussing? I'm discussing Leoncy, and then as a trainee. Now in this part I was able to define her occupation, from occupation down to her age, to her gender, then also down to her profession, and I'm still talking about one particular person. So this is a way I can define using dictionary. So if I go ahead and say that we need to print if I go ahead and say print, and then I say trainee, for example, then you can see here now that I am trying to define everything that have to do with Leoncy. So I started with her name. Now there is an error on this, though I have already run it because I'm supposed to separate it with comma, because each of these items supposed to be separated with comma. This is the way it's going to understand it. So I forgot that, so my bad. So I'm going ahead to put it like this, and then the places I stopped, which is the last one, so there will be no need for me to coordinate with that one. So this is expecting this is saying print trainee, unexpected indentation error. Okay, so this is supposed to start from the beginning. Then I will run it again. So you can see here now that this is everything that have to do with Leoncy. And you can see here that it have outlined her name, her age, everything in this particular pattern. So what I'm trying to say is that this is just like a way we put up this. And remember, like I said, it is ordered. So you can see that from the name, it didn't change anything. And then since it is ordered, it is changeable, but it doesn't allow duplicate. So what I mean that it doesn't allow duplicate, assuming that I go here down here and put age. Let's put age. And then I go ahead again and say that the age, her age now is 45. If I run this code, what happens is that it will only know that there is issue here. Sorry, I need to put comma here. And then let me run it now. And you will see now that what does it pick? It only pick 45. Why? Because it doesn't allow duplicates. So anytime you duplicate something, it automatically say, no, this is not meant for us. So since it's not meant for us, I'm not keeping it. So is it ordered or unordered? I've told you that it is actually ordered, because if you see the way it printed everything out, it didn't change anything. It comes out the same way I positioned it. But like I said, it can change it, but you cannot duplicate something. And example of duplication is what I just showed you now. The moment you put age twice, that automatically replace the next one, and that is how you are going to get that one done. Now also you can also print like you say here, and you say go ahead and say the length of trainee. So here for example, and we print it, what happens, it is going to give us the length. So you can see here 1 2 3 4, like 1 2 3 4 5 6 7. Remember, it doesn't allow duplicate, and that's why it's supposed to be 8, but it now replaces it with the second one, and then that's third one, sorry, and that's why it is telling you that it is the length is 7 instead of 8. So at the same time, if you also want to know the type of data, the same thing we did in the other one. So you just also need to say type, and then you talk, you call what you define here, and then if you run it again, you will see that it is the class is dictionary. Now let's say that at the same time that there comes a time that Leon so only also like different things. Let's say let's now go again and add something. For us to add something, we need to put a comma here to continue to add another thing. Let's say she like food. What's wrong with my finger? So let's say that Leon so like food, and then she like lice. She also, at the same time, she also like, let's say she like ogale. So she like ogale. Then let me also say she like matoke. So let's see that this is the list of the food she like. So how do you put more than one things inside? The way we can put it inside is by using here. You put it in the same pattern that it is, and also remember to separate it with comma, and then also put it like this. Then in this way, go ahead and put it them in lists like this. Then when you put them in list like this, and then when you run this particular thing now, so you can see now that it goes in here. I look outside, it now goes to the food, and it printed rice, ogale, and then this. So you can go ahead and put them in a list if you have more than one thing you need to put here. I'm going to explain that a bit. I'm going to explain that a bit for you, so that we can get to understand more about it. I'm trying to see whether we can, let me know whether I can use paint. So as you can see here, one thing you should understand, I want you to understand, is that in the beginning here, or as you can see here, the one thing I want you to actually get to know very well is that anytime you are saying a dictionary, there should be one particular thing which is going to be there, and that thing that we're going to be using there is what we call the key. So what it means is that if you go ahead and mention one name, so the rest of the name should be in one side. So what I mean is that I'm going to divide this into two, into a straight line like this. Here you will have what we call key. Remember what I mentioned when we were talking about building. So we have key, and here we have value. Now anything you put in the beginning is what we call the key. Now in this particular pattern, the key of whatever you're going to put is going to be one and unique. The value can be one or many, that is one or more or many. So what I'm saying is that if you say, remember when we're querying building, we're talking about building, but we have building that are residential, we have building that are building that are, what do you call it, industrial, we have building that are for different house and rest of them. But the key of what you're going to look for is called building. The same thing when we're looking for highway, we have highway, but the rest of other value, it can be primary road, it can be secondary road, it can be residential road, and these are the types of road that we have. What I want you to get to understand when we are talking about key and value is what I want you to understand. So you need to get that well understand, to know that when you're talking about key, it's supposed to have key and the other one's supposed to have value, and value can be duplicated whereas key cannot be duplicated. Now example of what I'm saying that value can be duplicated why key cannot be duplicated is this. When you say, if I say here, when I go ahead here where I put a surveyor and go and write Rwanda and I run this code again, you will see now that profession Rwanda, country Rwanda, but if you put age, you cannot duplicate it. So the value can be replicated, but the age, the key cannot be duplicated. Go ahead.
Yes, sir. You said the value can be duplicated by the keynote.
Yes.
So, and you have said that this dictionary allow duplicate. So, I want to know this dictionary depend on it. It get the principal code. It doesn't allow duplicate according to the key.
Yes. It doesn't allow the item, like dictionary cannot have item that have the same key. This is just the whole thing. The key cannot be duplicated. It cannot have item that have the same key, but it can have item that have many values. This different same values but having, you get what I'm trying to say. So the duplication
Okay.
I mean now is the key.
Yes, I'm good.
Yeah, exactly. So
Yeah,
like I give you
it
example
means
here.
it.
You see here, this is the key.
Yeah.
It have
Yes.
replaced it with 45.
Yes.
But when you go to value here, you can still see Rwanda here and Rwanda here. This is the value. Sibio?
Okay.
All right. So
Nijo.
okay. So that's the way it goes, and that's how it works perfectly. Now, in that particular pattern, this is just what I want you to know. And then when you want to get the key and the value of whatever that is in the dictionary, now remember what I did here. You see, we have many things here. Assuming you want to get the key and the value of what is in the dictionary, and let's say that I want to get A and I want to get the value of what is inside there. So I can decide to say trainee, you see here. Then I can decide to say trainee and I mention the name of what I want to get and I say print it. What happens? It print Leon so for me. Now look at these two things. If I want to get food, I want to get information. I want to get something inside there. Now you see the way I mentioned it and I get it now. So this is the way I can access. This is accessing item. Now you see here I say give me the name. So let's go to say give me food. Now remember she like food. And then you can see now it goes in to access this. Now another way around, the same way, I can go ahead and say give me the same name, but in this case I want to call it trainee, then dot, and I will use get, and then I'll open up the bracket, and I can say uh, uh, I can open up the bracket, and then I will call that particular this thing I want to get as well. So now what do I want to get in there? I want to get let's say gender. Now I'm going to run this. Then you see this is correct, so let's go ahead and print B. Now when I print B, what happens? It is going to give me female. Now these are two ways I show you how to access item inside the dictionary. The first thing I did here was that I said food. I call the food, it brings me the item. The next thing I did here was I used the keyword get, and it gives me the item inside there. So with this, you can access anything that is inside the dictionary, no matter how big it is. So you use the key to get that, and you use the value to also get that. Now, in that same way, assuming you also want to get the keys that you have there, so you use the keyword. Yeah, go ahead.
You cannot use like for looping while you're discussing the
Yeah.
in a dictionary
Yeah.
as in a list.
Okay, I'm going to for loop. I will. That's probably maybe one next or two things I'm going to explain. I will explain that. Is that okay? Did you get me? Yeah, I'm saying that I will go to loop, and then I will explain that quickly. Yeah, but I just wanted you to know how you can access few of these things. So, like you can see here, I want to access the key. This is how I will go to the moment you use trainer.key, it is going to give you all the key here. You can see the key we defined here. Name, age, this is the only thing you get here. And then at the same time as well, you can also, if you want to access them, so you can get the same thing done that way. So it's just all about you using the keyword to get what is inside there. So in this pattern, so we can just say here, and then go ahead and say paste this one and put this one as keys, and then we put this one as D, and then we go ahead and say here D, and then you run this, and then you're going to have two of them. So let's say, let me just say here, sorry, let me just say it here. So this is oh sorry, let me just type it normal. I wanted it to come print B. So we have C and D, and you can see here the key and the value. So you can see dictionary key, it gives you everything, because I mentioned trainee, then also trainee. So it goes into the dictionary to get me all the key and all the values. So you can see all the key and the value as it comes in, matching from each other. Now another thing is that when you have this, you cannot have here, let me say show something here. Then if you run this, so you see now that when you have key, you're supposed to have value. So you cannot go and have empty key or empty value like this. So you are likely not going to get any result on it. So that is it for this. So this is the way you can access all the key in Python, and the way you can access all the value in Python. Now let me give you example of what I mean by key and value. When we go to pandas, you understand what I'm saying. For example, if you remember in our ArcGIS, there is something we did in our ArcGIS, which if you look at the columns of what you have there, you see now that in a column like this, let's say that we have here provinces, you have Rwanda here, that is it. So in that particular pattern, you have columns, you have Eastern Province, Northern Province, and rest of them. You are going to, that is what you mean by the key. What is the key? The key is the country, while the provinces, all you have inside here, are the value. Now, one of the perfect example of what I'm trying to explain is that, assuming I ask you to create me the key of value, and which is what you are going to do for me. You are going to create me a short this thing that is going to give me the Rwanda provinces, and that Rwanda province is going to house the districts, No, sorry, the provinces against all the key, as in provinces as a key, the main key, Rwanda provinces, and then the values are the district inside all of them. Example of what I'm saying is this thing I did here. Example, if you look on the section of where we have number 10, this example of what I'm trying to say, I'm just giving you an advanced information or expo of what I am going to ask you. Now, if you look at this, you see now that this is the key that you have, and this is the value that you have. What is the key? The key here is food. Now, what is the key in terms of Kigali, in terms of this province and district? The key here is Kigali city. What are the value? The value for Kigali city include Gasabo, Nyarugenje, Kikichiro. These are the value. Then when you go to the key of provinces and you are picking Gasabo as example, you have Kachiru as sector, you have I don't know which other, Kimuhurira, and then the rest of them as the value as related to the key of Kigali city. So the same thing, the same data structure you have is also the same data structure I am talking about. And that data structure you have are what you use to store, like the same way it understand it. So the moment you call the key indirectly, so the difference is that you are seeing them as you're typing in the code. But when it embeds the column name, the headings of that column automatically bears the name key. Whereas everything that is right under every item inside that, every item that is right inside that particular column automatically answer the name as value. Now remember, this is where I want you to remember what Lydia said when she explained to us about DBF. So I always want you to remember that. So what I mean is this: that thing she explained to us is exactly what I'm trying to talk about now. Because the difference now is that you have it in a structured, like you have it in a structured attribute information in ArcGIS. Now you don't worry about how do they come about and how do they access them. So what I mean is that if you look at this particular table I have here, the key to this name you have here down to 30 of the district you have here is name 2. The values are this thing you are seeing here. That is what I want you to know. If you look at the district here, what is the key? The district. What is the values? The values are Burera, Gikenyi, Bujesera, Kanyunza, Gasibo, or rest of them. So these are the values. So this is what I want you to understand. So key here, this one, value here. Is that okay? So that's what I want you to understand. So anytime you are getting those things, so I want you to get that understand in your head, so that you at every point in time you should understand each and every of them and get to know when to execute them at every point in time. Is that okay? All right. So that's the way to access an item, and you can access them, and then you can go ahead access them both key and the value can be accessed in that way. So you have a question?
Yes,
Yeah, go ahead. Go ahead.
I get confused
Where?
about the key. You said about the province and district. For example, Gasabo, Nyarugenge, and the Kichuchiro, those are key. For example, why for those sector are a value. So for the table, for the attribute table, you say the district are a key.
Yes.
So I want to know how you can call if you say the province is a key and again the district can be a key. How can you call
Okay.
one of them?
All right.
What if other?
Do you know?
Yeah.
Can you tell me 2 sector or 3 sector that is in Gasabo district? I know Kachiru only. I know Kimuhurira.
Kachiru, Kimihura, and another one. I don't know it.
Okay, let's
Let me tell you in Nyarugenge.
Okay, let's say it is Lydia. Now look at this. This is Kigali City.
Yes.
This is Kigali City. Hmm? Here.
Yeah.
Now this Kigali City you have
Yes.
here, this Kigali City that you're having here is a key to Gasabo,
Yes.
is a key to Nyarugenge, and is a key to Kichichiro, right?
Yes.
This is
Yes.
this is level 1, L1. Now when you go to the level 2,
Okay.
you have what? Gasabo district, right? What is the key of Gasabo district? When you go to Gasabo district, when you return back to district, this automatically become a key. It's on its own. Now, what is the level of the key? You start having Lydia, Kichichiro, Kimuhurira. Now, this is not the second generation of this Kigali City.
Means it depends to the level.
Yeah, it depends on the
Yeah.
level. Like the same way we have Rwanda shape file here. Now, when we are here, we are calling this one as the key, but these ones are value. But when you go to Burera, you will have another value as later associated to it. So it is now coming like a tree. Is that okay?
Yeah, I understand.
All right. So
Yes.
it have children now. Okay. So another thing I want to talk about is the aspect of, let's say I have stopped from D. Let me go to E, and I'm going to say that E is equals to still to be the trainee. Dot. Let's go to the item. Now, in this particular way, what you need to do is that you want to itemize everything that is here. So it return it of the item as tuple list. So every item inside that dictionary will be returned as one. If you look here, you see a name, Leonso. It is not coming out like this. You see here, it was putting it as a dictionary. But when you go to item.items, it now looks through the items. What returns? It returns each item by names, age, in this particular bracket. So this is a way to return each of those items that is inside there. So using this, you should be able to get everything that you have inside there. So that's a way to work on bringing item out at any point in time. Now, if you have a big dictionary that want to check for something, then that is when you can now go ahead and use dictionary. So in that way, we are going to start using if. So what is the if? I think we're using trainee, right? So let's go with this. If trainee in trainee. So you can see this trainee here. If trainee in trainee here. So sorry, it's supposed to be this. Then we can say print yes, print no, for example. If I run this code now, you see now there is no trainee inside it there. But I think I put something like Rwanda. Let's check Rwanda here. Then let's run it here. And then you see now that is there a Rwanda inside it? No. Is there a Rwanda inside trainee? Let's check there to see whether there is Rwanda inside trainee. So let's check. There is no Rwanda inside that trainee as a key. Now let's check name as well. So I'm going to check name, and then let's run the name. Is there name inside it? Yes, there is name. So there is a key that is name called name inside it. So when you are searching for dictionary, you can use this to check whether, using if in to check whether a particular this thing is existing inside the dictionary. So this is a way you can get that done. Now on a quick one, we move, because I was just trying to make an explanation. We can also change, like I said, you can change value of a specific item you want inside that particular dictionary by referring to the key. Now, if you refer to the key, then that automatically knows that this is what you're talking about. So what I mean is that if you look here and I see here that I want to change the key, this one is to check if exists. If you want to check if exists, use this. But when I want to check for whether that particular item, like replace that particular item, and then what I need to do is that I am going to call the trainee, which we are using, and in that trainee I am going to replace. I don't want to use Leon. So again, I want to start using Lydia. Now, if I want to start using Lydia, sorry, it's supposed to be Leon. So did I write the name well? I want to replace it with Lydia. Now, if I say here, I go ahead and say print trainee. What happens then? You can see now that this trainee, or what's the issue? Trainee, then replacing it with Lydia. Hold on a bit, because this let me check that I write it well. Leonize, that's what I write. Then this is Leonize. Oh, I wanted to replace that particular this with it, because you can replace a particular value. Okay, this is supposed to be name here, and I run it and then close it up, print it. Yeah, this is what I mean. I made a mistake, so I was replacing with a value. So if I want to replace the key, a particular item, so you can see that we were having Leon C here. You can see it here, but I want to replace it. I will call that particular name as well. The same thing, I want to also to replace her country. So I'm going to change the country. So for me to replace the country, I still need to do the same thing, like call trainee like this. You call what you want to replace. So I want to replace here, go with list and say country. Which country do you want me to give you? So let me say you are coming from Kenya. So if you replace and print this, you can see that her country here has been replaced, and it has been replaced with Kenya, not Lyonso again, not Rwanda again. So both Rwanda and this, so call the key, and that is going to be replaced automatically. So that's how to get that done when it comes to that. Now, assuming that it's still Lydia, you can still see Lydia here, and then I want to update the age of Lydia from 45 to 30. So I can also make such kind of a kind of code by going ahead to say inside here, I'm still going to say trainee here, and I'm going to say dot. I will now update. Sorry, it is raining, so you are going to continue that way. Hold on a bit. All right, I'm back. Okay, so if I want to actually work on this, so you can see here that I want to update the name Lydia here. I want to update the name Lydia to Kingsley. So this is a way I can get to update it. Using updates, I can call the key that I want to update and replace it with that particular thing I want to replace. So you can see here that I've replaced this with Lydia. But assuming also I want to replace the name of Lydia with only the age, I can also do the same thing here by calling the age. So in this particular pattern, so what I need to do here is that instead of me calling name, I'm going to call her age, and I will say I want to replace it with 30. Now, if the key is correct, it is going to replace. You can see here that this has been modified to 30, and this has been modified to Kingsley as well, because I have replaced it before, so it's already in the memory. So what it knows now is Kingsley and 30, country Kenya, profession Rwanda, the same thing instead of what we have earlier. So this is a way you can update or change this thing in dictionary. Now, another thing, this is to update. So we call this one for you to update. So we call it update. This is to update. This one, as well, as you can see here, this one we also call it to check if it exists. This one I just replace it and able to run it. So this is the way I updated it. Now in this one, if I want to add something to the list, like I add something and I needed to add something to it, you remember where we have food. So what I need to do is that I'm going to go to the trainee as well, and I want to add something to it. So I just need to go here and call that food. I think it is retained food. Let's check here. I wrote it yes as food. So we can say food that we have here, as ugali and rest of them. So I can go ahead and say food ugali matoke, as you can see, and then I can also add fish, for example, and then I'll go ahead here and then close this up. So this is when I want to replace with this thing. So if I go ahead and print the trainee, what do I supposed to have here? So you can see here that okay, that was a mistake, my bad. So you can see here that if I run this, and you can see here that if you go down here, you see that we have updated this thing from normal food down to fish. So you can see fish here, having fish under it here. So this is a way we can update our, this is a way we can update our, this thing refused to go. What's the problem? Oh, okay. So it was a bit freezing. So you can see the way we can update by modifying. You can add one item or you can add more items, just like the way I did it now. So you can now get to update. You can also update by just what I showed you now. With update, by calling the key and the value, you should be able to add or modify item that is inside the dictionary. Now, how do you remove? The same thing we talked about then. You use pop. If I want to remove something, I can just call that particular thing I want to remove. For example, I want to remove food in the dictionary. So in terms of remove, this one, like I said, this is to add or update. Yeah, so this one, if I want to remove, I can use pop. How do I use pop? So I'm still going to go to trainee like this, and then remember the same thing, what I told you last time, by difference between pop. So I can go ahead and say pop. Then pop up age, or let's remove food, because food is now making the list long. So if I print it now, so you can see now that I have eliminated food from it here by calling the particular item I want to remove. So you can see now food is gone. So food is out of the equation. So I've removed food from the equation. So if you go here now, you can see now you don't have food again. So it stopped agenda. So this is a way you can, let me reset this. So this is a way you can remove food. You can see it here. There is no food that is inside here again. So we have ended up removing it. Go ahead.
Sir, I want to know, here you are adding a value. So I want to know, is it possible to add the even key?
To add yeah, you can update. You can see, okay, to update the key is a key. Remember, you cannot modify, you cannot duplicate it. Do you remember the definition we goes up in the beginning?
Yeah, yes, I remember. But for example, you can add other one which is not same like what you
You can update
you have.
Yeah, you can
Okay.
update. Yeah, the same way you update, you can
Yes.
update. Yeah. So that is
Okay.
for remove. Remember also what I told you about delete. That is also for delete. The key, the same way I use remove, is the same way you're going to do delete. And then anytime you want to also clear, use the keyword as well, clear, to clear everything that is there, and then make it an empty dictionary. Now, this is just a little way, like I said, the same thing I was telling you all other time. We are also using the same principle. That's why I spend time in list, like I said, because list is what is going to drive us to the rest of them, to the rest of the things we need to explore. So in this way, if you go into this and say for X or for A or for Y in trainee, yeah, and you say for Y in trainee, print X, for example, and let's run this. Now, this is where I want to answer Lydia's question that she asked me earlier. So I am now trying to access the key of the dictionary one by one. So I am looping through each of them, and now I am now using for X in trainee, give me all the trainee. So with this, I am using for loop to actually access it, all of them, and that's why you are having that particular everything you are seeing right here. Now in here, I am saying for X trainee in trainee, you are having only one name you see in all of them. So remember, this, I've explained this before, why we are having that, and I was trying to tell you that Python is an interpreter and not a compiler. So this, whatever you use here, does not matter, but you can see here that I'm using for A in A, and then you can see now is looping it through this direction. Now, this is a way you can access a particular distance. So let me run this so that the brain, you can see now this have changed because I need to go back and then rerun this so that you can update the lists as well, because it have already captured that this is what I am too. Let me run this to see the way I can update the dictionary, the memory, so that it will know what to pick. So this is a way you can use for loop to actually go in and then get everything that is there. The same thing as well, if you want to do for key, so you can say for x in, you now do the same thing and say trainee. Here you say dot values. Now here trainee dot values, then you put it in here, sorry, the same this, and then you can now say print x. Now when you run this, what are you trying to access? You are trying to access all the value inside here. So this is a way you can access the value. So the same thing, when you want to see the key, I'm just going to copy this and then I'm going to paste it here, and then I'm going to paste here, and I'm going to modify this to keys. And then when you do this, then all the keys will be accessed. So this is a way you can access the dictionary. So you can see now that every item that is inside that particular dictionary has been accessed using for loop. And this answers the question that Lydia asked me earlier. So this is a way you can loop through the dictionary when it comes to this. And then you can also copy dictionary using the same keyword we talked about last time. Keyword we talked about last time is necessary for you to work using the keyword of copy. That's why I said all those keywords we use in list that we treat extensively, the same thing works in that particular format. There's no difference between them. So that's just the same way it works. So you can make a copy of dictionary, you can delete, you can clear. The same thing, all of them are the same thing. And now we have what we call nest dictionary. You nest something inside it. We call it nested dictionaries. So it can contain dictionary. The dictionary that contain dictionary inside is what we call nest dictionary. When a dictionary contain another dictionary inside, we call them the nest dictionary. Now, example is that Balake, or how do I say it? Okay, let me use intent like this. Yeah, let's use this. I think this will be a perfect example. Now, well, let me use intent like this, and then I'm going to go down here. It's supposed to be dictionary, so mistake here. So when you have this is the way you can make this reality. Now you see that when I say intent here, I need to come up with one. So now I want to get the name and age, and I'm going to say her age is 45. Now I can, inside this particular loop here, I can decide now to close this one. This is the first thing I did here. Look at the first thing I did here. Inside here, I decided to close this first one here. Sorry. Now, this is the first thing I want you to understand. So I'm going to delete this. I'm going to leave this. Now, I want you to take a note of what I'm trying to say now in here. So this is the first family. Like, this is the first one I want to go on and work on. So inside here, I wanted to create a list, but I want to create another dictionary inside it. So in that dictionary, I have this one govern this one. So I have to create another one now. And in creating this one now, I'm going to start with Lydia. So let me start with Lydia. Now in Lydia now, this is the one I want to start with Lydia. I just want to put, okay, let me put intent one so that you will maybe understand what I'm trying to say here. In intent one, I'm going to come here. And instead of me going ahead, I want to create another intent inside it. So what do I need to come up now? I'm creating another intent inside here. So in that intent, I can now say that what is her name. I can go ahead and type her name here, and then the name here is going to be Lydia. Now this is the first thing, and I want also to know her age. I'm going to go ahead with age here. Age. Then let's say that her age is 35, or whatever her age can choose to be. So I'm going to put up the age. So let's put her age as 35. Now inside here, I have created a particular dictionary for Lydia. Now I can go again for the second one. The next thing you need to do is to put comma, so that it will understand that you want to start up with another one. So I can go to intent 2, and I say her name is Leonce. Then I can now go to here. You see comma, I go again intent 3. As you can see, I can put up Ame as the next person. Now when I get to her name, you can see here I started with the name here, and then when I want to close it, now when I get to the end of it, I'll press enter and I'll close it with the dictionary. And I can also go again if I want to put up another name. So I can now go again by start creating a new intent. So I can go with intent 4. So in this intent 4, I'll put it up here. I'll open the dictionary and I'll put Balake. Now you see the pattern it is going now. Now one thing I want you to look now is this particular aspect is what I want you to critically look at. Now I am creating dictionary inside dictionary. We call it nested dictionary. So if I go ahead, the same way, if you see now that this is talking about age. Now to do something again, I'm going to create intent 5. Then that intent 5 here, I'm going to, let me put it up here. I can decide to add more thing to it, but whichever way I want. So if I go to intent 5, I can go ahead and say, let's say Farida, for example. So I can go ahead with the name, and then I can go ahead with Honore. Since it is suggesting Honore for me, I can add Farida, I can add more people name, and in that particular order. So what I'm saying is that you see the way I go ahead and create a different distance. So if I say go ahead and give me all the intent, so I can decide to print. Why is it freezing? Remember, this is the dictionary, the main dictionary, the whole, all of you are in intent. I think, am I right? Enter. So let me put N, and then let me put N here. So, and then invalid lateral. So now this is what I was trying to say, that if you did not get one thing right here, then you're going to be having this kind of issue. It says perhaps it need comma, which is 10. Where is it? Where did I make mistake? Let me look at it well. Here started with this, close with this one. Then here intent 2 started with this, close with this one. Then intent 3 started with this, Ame, close with this one. I don't see where the problem is right now. Did anybody see it?
I think there's no color after curly bracket.
Which one?
That
Which line?
line 13.
Okay, exactly. Yeah, thank you. Yeah, so your eyes is faster than my own. Yeah, so now we see here now that we have all the list of the intern inside here. Now inside that intern, you can see now that in intern 4, which is Balak, I can decide to add only food for him, because at this point in time Balak like food. So you see that the food is coming only for Balak. So what I wanted to show you here, and why I wanted to make this creation, is that I also want to put here, and I also want to put gender, and then I'm going to say the gender of Leonso is female. So let me go ahead with female. So if you look here now, you see now that the dictionary I created are not equal, and they are not the same thing. Balak have rice, food. Leonso have gender, but Lydia only have age, and yes, this is the only thing you have here. So what it means is that if you want to create a nested dictionary, you can create a nested dictionary different from one that does not contain only one. You can start with age, you can start with year, you can start with different things, and should be able to create different things from there. So this is a way you can make work on it. Now this is the first method of getting this one done, by creating a nested loop, a nested dictionary. So this is what we call nested dictionary. Now inside here, I want to make a modification to this particular code. And what I want to do is that I want to go here where I have intent, and I'm going to delete this. And I'm going to go down here where I have this curly bracket, and I'm going to delete this. And I'm going to highlight all of them here. From here to the beginning, I will press Shift Tab to return back. Then I'll also press Shift Tab, and it will return back to the beginning here. So because I want it to start from the beginning, removing the indentation. Now when I put this thing in this particular pattern, then what I can now come here, I can now come and create the dictionary and say in the dictionary here, I'm going to say intent modified. So let me put X here. Then I'm going to say that the intent that I'm going to put up here, so I'll now open a curly bracket for them. Now in that curly bracket, I am going to now list all of them into it. Now you see what I did here? I listed all of them into it. So in this particular order, I am going to just copy this. So let me copy. Let me just copy this, please. There's no need for start to modify. So I'm going to copy this. Then I'm going to go inside here, and I'm going to paste it. Then in pasting it, I'm going to highlight it, and I'm going to click on this. Go ahead here, and then put it up like this. Still copy this one. Copy, and then I'll paste it. Now I'm having this one too. Then I'll make a comma on it, and then I'll copy this, and then I'll press enter, paste this, paste, 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 paste. Then I have 5. Then I'll go here and modify and put 1. Then I put 2. Then I put 3. Then I put 4, and then 5. The same thing here. 1. This one 2. This one 3, this one 4, and then we have 5 here. Now what did I do? I ended up bringing them into the same one. I ended up bringing them into one by putting them differently, and then I ended up bringing them into one. What did I do here? Illegal intent 1. So illegal automaton target, that is on line 1. So what happened? Okay, so let's look at it here. So what was the problem here? So here I put it up in 10.1. I suppose, okay, is my mistake, I copied it. So this one supposed to be completely removed here, like this, like this. Then this one also here, and this one as well. Then in 10.4, go home, and then in 10, this one go home as well. Then there is also another mistake, which is the comma. I'm going to come back and remove them one after the other, but you can see here I've ended up adding all these ones in the intent. So I will run this now, and we're going to have another word, error. Yeah, like I said, the error is the comma. Like I told you, we're supposed to remove them independently here. So you can see here intent 1 they're not supposed to be clashing with intent 2, so that's why I'm coming back to fix them. Intent 3, remove, enter. Intent 4, remove, enter. And then intent 5. So I think this is clear. So let's check again and see what the problem is, and see now what did I end up doing after the whole this thing? I have to put them into the same intent. I'm missing up here, so this is supposed to be 4. So this is first method, and this is second method. The first method is first calling the intent and house all of them in one. The second method is putting the intent outside and then collect them after the whole distance. So you can see here at the end of the whole distance, I come up and put them intent X, and I was able to collect all of them together, and that's why you're having this output you have down here. So this is it here. So you can see here intent 1 is equals to intent 1. If I change it to the main X, the main distance that I have here, see intent 1 is equal to intent 1, intent 2 equals to intent 2 in that particular order. So if you remove it from what I put up before, you should be able to have the rest of the intent within them. So this is a way you can work on intent differently, and then get to print them out. So if you want to access any internship, like the way you put, you can call the name, and you can also call it you can call the name and the key, and then that will know which one are you targeting. That what is the primary thing one? The primary one is this intent X. What is the secondary thing you're going to call? You call the intent 1. So, and that is how you can work on it. So in the items, you can use the look, like the same thing we did the other one. You can still look for loop, where you can say for all the X in the other distance. So you can now loop into intent and print all the intent inside it. So if you run up it like this, then you should have intent 1, intent 2. Let me intent 1, intent 2, intent 3, and then you should be able to have. So for this, let me run this one. Let me leave the one down. So I'm going to run this one up and have the output, and then I'm going to go to this one to run and have this output. So you have intent 1, intent 2, intent 3 down to here. So you can access each of the item by using for loop, and you have intent 1. Oh, so remember that I put intent here. Where is a place I'm not putting inter, I put inter. So remember that it is intent, in case you want to look through the code, so that you're not like, where is this one coming from? So just coming from me not typing the right, is coming from you not typing the right thing. So in generally, we use clear, we use pop, we use key, we use value, and we use gate, and this is how you can access dictionary. So this is how you can work with dictionary at every point in time. So I think we'll spend 1 hour. I was thinking it's 45 minutes, but this generally how you can work with dictionary and access them, save different item into it. Now remember what I said, this is very, very important. Where is the food? There is a place I talk about food for Balaki. This is very, very important, because that's what control our happiness. Do you see this line? I've passed so long like this here, where we have food here. This food, this is very, very important, because you now put the rest of the item inside here. So this is the way you can get that done, and you should be able to put the dictionary into that way, and you can access what is inside there. So example of what I give to you, or what I'm trying to say, is the aspect of putting all of them into the one key dictionary, like what I was trying to draw out for you. So you can define a particular district. So for example, you can say Gasabo, and then in Gasabo you want to define the dictionary that is inside Gasabo. So you use the dictionary, and then what and what are inside Gasabo, you can put the name. Let's say Kachiru as a sector. So you start with Kachiru, you define what is in Kachiru and the rest of the villages or say in Kachiru. Then you create another dictionary that shows in that particular stretch. So that is a way you can do it. Remember the way I did it? Let me give you a clear example of what I said. I'm saying now. So when I say Kachiru, I can now put the list of Kachiru. In Kachiru, I have a village called Pinuhurura. I have another village called Ame. I have another village that is called Lydia. So this is Kachiru. As you can see, this is Kachiru. So you need to know that this is what I mean when I say Kachiru. This is the village in Kachiru. So here I need to put this thing because it is this one. Remember, we use this into separate key and value, and then here I need to separate this one as well. So let me put my Kachiru word here. Okay, return back here, fit it in. What is missing here? What am I not doing? Okay, I'm supposed to put comma here. Then what else am I missing again? Ame. Oh, okay, it is my fault. I was putting single quote, and that's why it is not even understanding itself. So if you see here now, you now put this one. This is Kachiru, so you can say print Gasabo. So if you run this, Gasabo, you run it like this, you can get Kachiru. So it means that if you want to include another Kachiru as a sector, another sector we have is Kimuhurura. So you go with Kimuhurura, and then you define it as a key, and then you now populate the rest of other list that is inside it that same way. So you can say that the next one now is Ami. So if you run this one, then all of them now, if you want to access them, you can access each and every one of them. You can see here I did not define this because I did not put it in dictionary. So this is what I am talking about. So you can access them and create dictionary in this particular pattern. And this is what you need to do when it comes to dictionary. Like I said, it have key and it have value, and you can use any time to access each item inside it at any point in time or whenever you want. So this is just it for now. You can ask your question if you don't have any question. So we can now go ahead to stop here for now. So we're going to be using a conditional statement next, but this is where I want us to stop for now if you don't have any question. Yeah, is that okay?